Good morning and welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on the Nissan 350Z. This is a 2005 automatic DE engine, but that doesn't matter for this portion of the video. That doesn't matter for the content of this video, which is the rear shocks. I just replaced the rear driver side. Very simple, easy process, doing a video on the passenger side. And I'm hoping it should be the exact same easy, simple process. Pull the tire off, pull the shock off, put the shock on, put the tire on, and go about your merry way. We are using a Bilstein shock setup today. I am not sponsored by these folks. I just really like their shocks. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I put these things in just about every vehicle. I prefer the silver rather than the yellow color, but it is what it is. You get what you get. I really like the performance I've seen in my other vehicles with the Bilsteins. And as far as the color situation goes, you really don't see it when it's on the vehicle on the rear because the tire blocks the whole thing. So overall, I'm looking forward to getting this in. So all parts will be listed down in the description below, providing I can find them on Amazon. And in some of my other videos, a few of you have mentioned some of the tools I'm using that you liked them, so I will try to link similar or the same tools down below as well, so that if you have nothing in your garage and you want to do this job, you should be able to buy what you need and get it going. So let's do it. Pretty standard. You're going to have to raise the back end of the vehicle up, loosen your lug nuts before you pop it all the way up, unless you have an impact, of course. Remove all lug nuts, and then of course remove the tire. Try and look cool when you sling it out of the way, and then go catch your breath. My bolt was stripped. I could not get this undone. It was stripped in the nut, so I grabbed my trusty Sawzall and I hacked that nut away. I ended up cutting through the nut that's welded to the shock mount as well as the bolt itself. Yeah, there's a good shot right there, just hacking it off. Once that comes off, you should be able to remove the bolt with a little pry bar of some sort. You might have to get a little hammer action in there to tap it out the rest of the way. Boom. There is your cut bolt with your cut nut. Anyway, your upper shock mounts are 12mm bolt. Go ahead and pop those off. You're going to remove them, and you should now be free to go ahead and pop that off the lower mount. This looks awkward one-handed because, well, I'm one-handed. If you got two, it's probably going to be a little easier and look a little smoother, and you won't have it on camera to prove it. But anyway, so that's your upper mounting hole where the top goes in. A little B-roll of your two shocks here. These shocks were not bad, they just weren't great, and that one was stripped, so I was replacing them. Previous owner put the other ones in. I have no idea what kind of quality they are, but I do like the way these Bilsteins are riding. I filmed this a couple weeks ago and it's been riding nice. Go ahead and just remove that whole top section, put it onto your new shocks, tighten them up, and we're almost done already, people. You can save a ton of money doing it this way, doing it yourself. Never do something you're not comfortable with, of course. Go ahead and slide your new shock in. Remember that nut on mine is going towards the front of the vehicle. I don't know if that's mandatory or how it comes stock, but that's how the old ones were installed, so I'm going in that way. Alright, you're going to pop this up on the upper mount, put your nuts in. I did not tighten them all the way down at this point. I just threw them on a few threads to hold the shock in place while I played around down here on the bottom. You'll notice that the lower knuckle needs to go up a little bit. I grabbed a second floor jack, popped it up. Thankfully I had an extra bolt on hand for the shock mount because I cut the other one. Alright, this is PEX tubing. Don't tear me up in the comments yet. Watch the end of the video. I've got a little dialogue back there now. I cut a little spacer. This is just to help eliminate a lot of the clunking noises going on in the back with the suspension. There's a lot of extra room in the shock mount. The shock mount hole is much bigger than the bolt that holds it, which means when the bushing wears out, you can kind of see right here, I'm trying to show that there's just too much play in that hole. So if the bolt loosens up at all or the bushing wears out at all, every time your shock moves, you're going to end up having it slamming on the bolt, and that's metal on metal going clunk, 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 clunk in your back end, which sucks. Nobody likes their back end clunking. So This little PEX tubing is there to become a spacer. It is working fantastic, by the way. I've put on about 800 miles since doing this, and it is so much quieter in the cab. Put your bolt in. I use my hammer ratchet to get it started, and I use a little pry bar just to help adjust the shock as I went while we got it in. Go ahead and speed that bolt in, and that PEX tubing worked fantastic. You can buy it at your local hardware store. I looked at my torque specs in the service manual, and I went ahead and torqued down the upper shock mount bolts, and then I went ahead and torqued down the lower shock mount bolt. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Of course, I didn't show it at the beginning of the video. Always be safe, chalk your tires. You never want it to roll anywhere when you're working on it. It's worthwhile being safe, takes a few moments, but you could spend a lifetime regretting it if you don't. Back to the PVC thing, guys. I found that out online reading some forums. I forget the name of whoever came up with that idea, but thank you so much. My ride is so much more enjoyable now that it's quiet. Go ahead and put your tire back on, get your lug nuts on, and yeah, torque them down to spec. I don't care if you do a star pattern, circle pattern, square pattern, just torque them down to frickin' spec and don't chew me out in the comments, guys. Thank you very much. Alright guys, that's all there is to it. Replacing your rear shocks on the 2005 350Z. Should be the same thing, I would imagine, for the G35 and pretty much any 350Z year range. I doubt they changed it. Maybe they did. I'm not a mechanic. That's the other thing to keep in mind here, guys. I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a professional, I am not educated in any vehicular way other than what I've taught myself, learned myself by getting my hands in there, reading the service manuals, watching YouTube like you are, and all that. So anything you see me do doesn't mean it's the right way to do it, doesn't mean it's how you should do it or how you shouldn't do it. I'm just a guy. I can't afford to pay a mechanic to do all the things I want to do to my vehicles because, well, I do a lot of things to my vehicles. I enjoy working on my vehicles, and so I do. What I'm trying to say, guys, is don't just watch my video and go do it, okay? Think for yourself, read the service manual, check your torque specs for your vehicle. A lot of people get upset that I don't put torque specs in my videos anymore like I used to, and that's because I found out through comments that people are taking those torque specs. So let's say I say the wheel lug nuts on this car are 80 foot-pounds. People was taking that and putting it on their Altima and doing their Altima tires at 80 foot-pounds because I said that my application was 80 foot-pounds. That's not on me. It's 100% on you, but at the same time, I don't want you to just do what I'm doing because there's variables everywhere, okay? That's a fairly drastic issue, but it's not something that I want to encourage. I want to show people that themselves as a DIYer are able to go ahead and do most of the repairs on their vehicles if they are competent and capable. That's what this channel is about. It's not about telling you, hey, do it this exact way because this is how you do it and it's the proper way, because I don't know the proper way. I want you to understand that, please, okay? So, that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that thumbs up, let me know that you enjoyed seeing what you saw or it was beneficial in some way or another, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me of different ways you know of changing your shocks or other projects. I've got a lot of projects on this car. We just picked it up. I haven't really done a whole lot. We're replacing the battery, the hood struts, obviously the rear shocks. If I still have some clunking, then we're going to look into some more bushings, the rear differential bushing, the catalytic converter, the valve cover, gaskets. We've got quite a few projects on this one. The trunk doesn't open right now. I got to figure that stupid thing out. I'm using the emergency release in the cab. There's a lot of projects going on. The headlights, the film is peeling, so I'm going to probably replace those. These rims are super beat up. We'll probably be replacing those. The brakes, the service manual says within a 1/8 inch, and it looks like I'm pretty close to there, so we'll be doing brakes. Lots of projects to come. Stay tuned. Keep an eye out. I'm flowing through vehicles fairly quick. I'm averaging about a year with each vehicle right now. We just sold the old Chrysler Town & Country. Now we have a newer Dodge Grand Caravan. The F-250 we've had for exactly a year now. I actually bought it, I think it was this week last year when COVID first started. And we've had that for a year, and that's, I think I'm about ready to list it, guys. I think that's ready to go. So stay tuned. There's cars coming in, going out, and I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. I hope this is beneficial in some way. So thanks for watching. See you next time. And I'm not sure how well I explain that because it's going to be a voiceover. But when you saw me take this is PEX, P-E-X, water, plumbing, fitting, tubing stuff. This is PEX C, I think, or PEX A, I don't remember. Doesn't really matter. But what you saw me do in the video, if you're wondering, is when that lower shock bolt goes through, the area in the shock where it passes through, where the head ends up sitting against, is way bigger than the bolt, way bigger. And I think some of my clunking was coming from that bolt as it loosens or as the bushing wears out and starts to compress itself a little bit. As the suspension moves just a little bit, that bolt was coming in contact with the actual shock because it's not a flush fit. So I read online some people using PEX tubing, 1/2-inch PEX tubing, and they were using it as a spacer to fill the space between the actual shock and the mounting bolt. I went ahead and gave that a try. This is just standard 1/2-inch. I don't know what the actual measurements are because I don't care. I just put it on there. Before you guys all get upset, well, that's not safe. You can't put a plumbing piece of pipe on your suspension system. This is not structural in any way that I can think of. The only thing that this might get in the way of is possibly that shock is meant to articulate just a little bit, and by putting a spacer in there, it won't articulate anymore. I don't really see that being an issue because the whole bushing is rubber, so the whole bushing moves. So I don't know why. I can't think of any reason why this is going to harm or get in the way of anything. If it does break, become brittle, get squished, again, I don't see what that's going to cause, how it's going to cause a problem. If it gets squished, it gets squished. If it breaks, it breaks. It sits there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything. It's not going to cause the bolt to back out. So before you get upset, give me a reason why you're upset, okay? I'm okay with people in the comments telling me, hey, you shouldn't have done that because of this. I don't mind that. In fact, I like that because it helps educate me. What I don't want to see is you guys going, ooh, you can't do that, and just leaving it, or you're a crappy person, you're a horrible person, I can't believe you drive your car like that. Give me a reason why, and maybe if it's valid, then I'll be like, holy shoot, maybe I should go remove that. If it's not valid, then I'm gonna just pass on by your comment like the other weirdo people on there. So, we'll see you guys later.